Welcome to the top 7 mistakes that I see all firearm instructors make that keep their gun classes from filling. And in this training, I'm going to show you how your business can make possibly over 6 figures in revenue. I've trained over 30,000 students. I've certified over 3,000 new firearm instructors in this game. And my goal here tonight is to reveal the secrets, the problems, the mistakes that I see firearm instructors make left and right in their businesses. And this is really just the foundation of what you need to know in order to grow your firearm training business. This is coming from somebody who does this every day for firearm instructors across the country. I'm also going to show you my pathway, how I trained in one day 2 weeks ago, how I had 95 students sign up, 80 people show up. These are all paid students. And at the end of the class, I gave a $1,000 offer in which I had 10 people accept. And so that was a $14,000 day in training for me. And so the number one most important mistake that people are making is that we're using the wrong funnel. The number one mistake. And what I mean by that is this is a funnel for your oil. When you go to pour your oil, the funnel does 2 things for you. Number one, you can pour your oil faster and count on all of the oil getting to one place, the place that you want it to go. And number 2, as you're pouring your oil, you're going to have less spilling, less mess, less waste. And so when we think about a marketing funnel for our business, this is basically what it looks like. Every single business uses marketing funnels. So whether you're using a marketing funnel that you know of or not, you are using a marketing funnel. If you're not doing it intentionally, it just means that yours probably isn't the greatest in the world. So when we draw out a marketing funnel on the board, this is what a marketing funnel looks like. It's in this shape. And everybody that you want to be able to sell to, everybody that you within driving distance of your classes or that you could reach online, they're out doing their own thing. And our job is to get them aware of our business, then interested in our business, then desiring our business, and then for them to take action, which is to attend our class in person. In order for us to grow our businesses, at the top of our funnel, we have all of what we call our traffic. Traffic is a really fancy word for all the people that are your potential customers, all the people that you possibly can sell to. Your traffic are all the people that know you exist. So these are people that you go to school with. These are people that you go to church with or that you work with, right? Your traffic right now are people who know you exist and that know you're a firearm instructor or gun business. That's your potential customer. They know you exist and they know what you do. What we do with them is we send them to a website. And on the website, what we want them to do is we want them to register and pay for our class. That's what we want them to do. And then ultimately what we want them to do is attend a class in person. That's what we want them to do, is attend a class in person. And your funnel works really, really well with people that know you exist. In order for your business to grow, you must spend 99% of your time, effort, and investment on marketing your business to people who don't know you exist. So in order for us to do that, we have to replace our traffic. In order to get more people to the bottom of the funnel, we have to start at the top. We have to get more people at the top of the funnel. And so I want you to know that you are limited in your business by people that know you exist. I'm going to say that again. One of the constraints, if not the most important constraint in your business, is that you are constrained because right now you're focusing on the people who know you exist. Those are the only people that are coming to your classes. And if you don't have a system to repeatedly send your advertisements, you cannot grow your business because you're limited by the amount of people who know you exist. And so that brings me to marketing too, is that you are not using the most powerful marketing tool on the planet, Facebook ads. What we have to understand is that our business is limited by the amount of people who know we exist. And your number one goal is to fix that problem. And so my highest recommendation is that you go to Facebook ads and you run Facebook ads. Because Facebook has the smartest AI system on the planet. Here's a for instance. Everybody in this room watching this video right now met me on Facebook. And I didn't tell Facebook, hey, go advertise to this person in a firearm. I didn't. What I did was I created a video that you would be interested in. And you saw my ads. And by the way, you've seen my ads left and right, probably for a long time, all over your newsfeed all the time. And why is Facebook giving you my ads all the time? It's for one reason and one reason only. Facebook knows that you're struggling to fill your classes. And the question is, how does Facebook know that? Well, Facebook knows every post you've ever liked, commented, shared. It knows every message you've ever sent. It has information from other websites communicating back to it. Facebook knows everything about you. Just the other day, I was thinking in my head, I didn't Google search this and I didn't say it out loud. I thought in my head to myself, I would love a grand piano. Later that night, I started seeing ads for grand pianos for the very first time. Couldn't believe it. And because Facebook knows everything about you, it knows everything about everybody else also. And that's why Facebook is the best chance for you to get your ads in front of the right people at the right time. And what I mean by that is that if you're a pressure washer and you're offering pressure washing services, Facebook will get your ads in front of the person who's been thinking about doing pressure washing. And it's up to you to get them interested and desiring to take action. But the awareness problem is solved. But the problem right now is that if you go to Facebook and you turn on your very first ad and you start running ads for your class, I'm gonna say for this exercise, you're running ads for a $75 intro to firearms class, which is kind of about the going rate. If you go to Facebook right now and you run ads for a $75 intro to firearms class, what is going to happen is this. You are going to spend more on advertising than you are going to get from the customer to sign up. What I mean by that is that you are going to spend more than $75 getting somebody to sign up for $75. What you are running into is called a cost per acquisition. This brings me to problem number 3, is that almost all firearm instructors do not understand cost per acquisition. Cost per acquisition is a very fancy way of saying, how much money do you have to spend to get somebody to register for a class? How much money do you have to give Facebook in order to get somebody to sign up? That is called cost per acquisition, CPA. And so this was my problem. When I got started with this business, I knew that Facebook ads were my solution, but it was costing me way too much money to get a student to sign up. And so for the first 2 years that I became a firearm instructor, I struggled. I couldn't fill my classes to save my life. And here we are trying to change the world. And at the time, ISIS was growing and getting popular, and they were just going and blowing themselves up in the name of their mission. And here I was in a town in Florida, and I couldn't get the good guys to take action for the life of me. And my problem was that I had too high of a cost per acquisition. I spent too much money to get somebody to sign up. I couldn't make this business work for me. And so I was down to my last $100 in marketing. I could spend $100 and I had a choice. I could either make this work or I could go back to work. That was it. And so out of desperation, I took that $100 and I put it into Facebook. But before I did, what I did was I created, as part of my funnel, what I now refer to as an irresistible offer. An irresistible offer is an offer that we come up with that answers the question, why would somebody sign up and pay for our class today when they could pay for our class next week or next month or next year, right? Think about it. We're firearm instructors. That means we have classes all the time. And so that leads me to mistake number 3, not having an irresistible offer. If you don't have a reason for students to sign up and take your class today, they're not going to. This is a huge mistake that we need to solve for, is why would they take action today? And so I created my irresistible offer. I didn't even know that it was called an irresistible offer. I named it that later because I was just desperate to fill in classes. And I don't recommend this now, but what I did was I didn't make my students pay in advance. I was so desperate that I just needed signups. So I stopped them having to pay in advance. And the idea was, if Susie sees my ad on Tuesday and doesn't get paid till Friday, Susie can still take the class, or at least register. And if Charlie left his wallet in the car, Charlie could still register. I reduced the amount of friction that it took to get people to sign up. But because I was so desperate, I couldn't wait for people to show up to class to earn my money. I couldn't wait. So what I had to do out of desperation was I had to add a step where they buy something small. Now, they don't trust me enough to spend a whole $75 on me yet. They don't trust me enough for that. But they will buy something small. And what I did was I took that money and I paid my Facebook ads for that day. So if I spent $10 in a day, I got that money back. And I put that money that I got back and I spent another 10 the next day. And the next day I spent 20 and I made back 21. And the next day I made back 30. And the next day, maybe I lost $10, but I was still able to keep going. Because what this allows me to do is insert $1, get $1 back, and get my student to register. This is what I now refer to as a money model. I call this process a money model because what this allows us to do is use other people's money to run our ads. Because we're going to spend $20 a day on Facebook, but we're going to get students to register, pay something small that pays that $20 a day. And then the next day, we're going to get 2 people to register. So we double that money. But then the next day, maybe we don't make our money back, but the day before, it pays for it. Either way, our goal with our Facebook ads should be one thing: to break even. Your goal is to break even on your Facebook ad. You want to insert $1, get $1 back, and get the student to register. That is how you unlock growth in this industry. And so what I want to do is I want to share my screen and I want to show you a money model that I ran 2 weeks ago. And this is what will unlock your future also. Because a money model allows us to spend as much as we want on advertising. So I wanted to have the largest concealed carry class in my city's history. And I'll tell you what, my city, my state just went open carry. So you don't need to take a concealed carry class anymore. You don't need a carry permit to carry a gun. You can carry open or concealed now. And so a lot of people think that when that happens, there's a drop in demand for your classes. And that's the reason that your classes are not full, but it's not. The reason your classes are not full is one reason and one reason only, because you have a marketing problem. So take a look at the ad that I ran. Hey Ocala, if you want to start concealed carrying, but you're a little bit nervous about the whole gun world, I get it. I've trained over 30,000 students right here in Ocala, and most of them started out nervous and anxious about even holding a gun, let alone carrying concealed. I'm taking away every excuse for you not to get started becoming a confident concealed carrier, because on Saturday, April 4th, I'm holding a 3-hour class in a welcoming, fun environment where you'll learn everything you need to get started. Class is just $37, and if you don't have the most fun and entertaining gun experience of your life, I'll give you a full refund. So click this ad, get signed up right now, and I'll see you there. So my irresistible offer was that I want to give you the most fun and interesting experience. And it's one day only, because we're going to change the world in this one day. It's going to be the largest class in my city's history. We're not doing it 4 dimes in a row. We're doing it once. And that's my irresistible offer. It was a reason to take action now rather than next week. And so what happened was, when they clicked on that ad, they landed on a landing page inside of Momentum HQ. And this right here is Momentum HQ. This is the software that we use, and it becomes your entire business. So Momentum HQ has your calendars for your signups. So you don't have to send people to USCCA anymore or shootingclasses.com. If you're doing that, you are building their brands, not yours. So it's good to get off the ground in the beginning, but it's not a lifetime thing, because you're building the USCCA's brand or shootingclasses.com, not your brand. So your conversations tab is where all of your Facebook, Instagram, email, text messages, they all go to one place so that you can handle them all at the same time. Your calendars are your sign-up systems. Then you've got your payments, and we've got your marketing so that you can email and text everybody. You've got your AI agents, so that if AI wants to answer the phone for you, or you want AI to handle all of your incoming texts and emails, it can. Your memberships, so your online training is all right there. Your reputation manager, which actually your reputation manager is pretty cool. We just launched a new feature in the reputation manager that allows you to get video testimonials from your students. So your students can actually give you a video testimonial, and then you take those video testimonials and make them into your Facebook ads. It's just a phenomenal feature. And so when the person saw my ad on Facebook and they clicked on my ad on Facebook, they landed on my funnel. And my funnel was a very, very simple funnel. This is what it is. So if I was to draw it on the board, this is what it looks like. Okay. So here's my chicken scratch. Terrible, terrible drawing. But you get the picture. So when they see my Facebook ad, this is the awareness stage. They click on the Facebook ad and they enter the interest stage of the funnel. Our goal next is to get them to desire and then to take action, okay? And so they see my Facebook ad, they click on it, and they land right here. This is step 1 of the funnel. Then they enter there and they land on step 2 of the funnel. And then they land on step 3 of the funnel. And the reason that this is called a funnel and not a website is for one reason and one reason only. And that's because when you look at this funnel, you can see on this funnel, there is no phone number at the top. It doesn't say home, about, contact, email, calendar, course schedule. All it says is one thing: make history, inspire others, sign up for 37. There is nothing else for you to click except for sign up. And that's what makes this a funnel. Because again, what a funnel's doing is it's doing 2 things for you. Number 1 is getting everybody into the same place faster, because they can only go in one direction, and that's into where you want them to go. And number 2, the way that it eliminates waste is because when you spend ad money sending people to your website, you're getting people to spill, just like you're spilling your oil. Because if I sent people to my website, instructormarketing.com, look at all the places they can click. They can click home, Momentum HQ, about, courses, services, book a call, course login, right? So they have all those different places to click. That's why that's not a funnel. That's why this is a funnel because they can only go one way. Remember, with our funnel, our goal is to get them from doing what they're doing straight down into what we want them to do and have no wasted ad spend. And that's why a funnel matters. And so if we were to look and see what happens here, when they register for this class, they're spending $37. And I know that's not a lot of money, right? We just talked about an intro class being $75. Why would I give a class for $37? Well, the answer is all I want to do with this class is pay for my Facebook ads. I want this $37 right here to just pay my ad bill. Because if I get my ad bill paid for, I can spend as much money on ads as I want. That's step one of the funnel. Now let's look at the next step. So the people that spent the $37, they land on this page right after they spend it. And it says, hey, look, I know you just registered for this class, but go ahead and add this live fire training session with Andy at the shooting range, and that's $149. And again, this is why it's a funnel, because what they've done is, right, seen the Facebook ad, then they've clicked on it and they're here. Then they register and they're here. And then after they pay for that, then they're here. And ultimately attending is down here. What I want them to do is I want them to click this green button and add an upsell for just $149. And the beauty is, because I already have their credit card, the Momentum HQ software allows them to just press one button and it's going to charge their card for the $149. They don't have to add their card again. And then finally they land on page 3, which is just a confirmation page saying, great, you signed up. And so what this allowed me to do is spend a small amount of money every day for 30 days and fill the class. In fact, let me show you the small amount of money that I spent. So you can see here that on advertising, and I'll zoom in for those of you on a phone, on advertising, for those of you who signed up on a phone, I spent $2,245. Now remember, I didn't spend all that at one time. I spent a small amount of money every single day, and then I got my money back. So I spent 25, I got 25 back. I spent 35, I got 35 back. But when I spent the 2245, I'll show you how much money I made back before they showed up in my class. It's important to understand that the number I'm about to show you is the money I earned back before they showed up to class that day. So on step 1 of the funnel, I had already earned $38.22. So when we think about how much I spent on that, I already earned $1,500 in profit on step 1. Now my goal wasn't to make profit off of step 1, but hey, I'll take it. Then when you add step 2, so $38.22 on step 1, and then another $596 on step 2, I actually exactly doubled my ad spend. So I spent $2,200 to earn $4,400. But the beauty is not necessarily the money. Beauty was this. This is the beauty. This is what happened that day. I had 95 people sign up, 80 people show up. Guys, that means I convinced 80 people in my town to get off their freaking couch and get into a gun class. Even though my state doesn't require them to do that anymore, they're doing it. And they're starting their journey in the gun world. And that, to me, is more important than the money, is that I've just changed the lives of 80 people in one day. This is what a money model allows us to do, is that I doubled my marketing dollars before they even showed up to class. I was spending their ad money, not mine, on marketing my class. And so that leads me to the next mistake, is not allowing the system to do the work. And what I mean by that is, when you guys have people register for your class, I know a lot of you guys are sending out emails and Gmail to these people, what to bring, where to go, what time to be there. I know you guys are also printing out your liability waivers and bringing those papers with you on paper. And so you've got to spend the money on the ink, and you've got to spend the money on the paper, and then you've got to store it somewhere in your house in case they don't sue you for gosh knows how long. And so what I want you to do is I want you to make the system do the work. And what I mean by that is, when people registered for my Flex class, this is what happened with the system. So my system, as soon as they register, it sent them a text message. And the text message said, hey, Andy here, so glad you're in. I just sent you an important email. Check your spam if you don't see it. Now, I need your help. I said, copy and paste my next text and send it to as many friends as you can. And what my next text was, this is genius. It said, hey, I just signed up for the largest concealed carry class in Ocala on April 4th. It's only $37 and it's going to be incredible. You should come with me. Sign up here. And so what this allowed me to do is double the amount of people that register for my class without me spending money on it. This is how I made it go viral. And then it waited a certain amount of time and it sent reminders and text messages for them to show up. Now that's just one type of what we call an automation. An automation is the system doing the work for you. Also, we have a shooting range here in Florida that's a client of mine. And when they came to me, they were 3 months old and they were completely out of money. They were about to close their doors for good. And so the very first thing I asked was, why are you still doing your liability waivers on paper instead of electronically? And they said, well, we don't know how. And so I created them a funnel that is their liability waiver. And so when people come into the liability waiver and they sign the waiver, they sign it electronically. Now they don't have to print the ink, they don't have to have the paper, and they don't have to store it. But more importantly, what the automation does is the automation automatically sends out a 5-star review request. So the liability waiver is signed, the system waits 1 hour, and then it sends out a 5-star review request. And what that allowed this range to do was to get so many 5-star reviews in such a short amount of time that they just won the award for best shooting range in Florida. And they are out of the trouble financially. But not only does my system send out the 5-star review request, but my system also responds to that 5-star review. So here's George. He left a 5-star review today at 4 o'clock, so just a couple hours ago. And he says, Sarek was awesome. He was very knowledgeable and held my hand through the whole process. The rest of the staff was excellent, very at-home vibes. I highly recommend this shop, especially for new gun owners like myself. And my system used artificial intelligence to respond to this guy and said, thank you, George, used his name. Thank you, George, for the kind words and for recommending us. We're thrilled Sarek was able to get you through the process and that the team made you feel at home. We look forward to serving you again and helping other new gun owners feel confident. And the reason that it matters that the system does the work for you is because as you grow your business, you have a choice. You can either do all the work, and so you'll have no off time and you won't be able to spend time with your family and do the things that you enjoy, or you can hire somebody to do it. And then you're paying somebody a salary every single month, which is not necessarily a bad thing when you get to that point. But in the beginning, I don't want to do either of those things. I want the system to do the hard work for me so that I can focus on building my business. The reason that it's important that this AI system responds to these 5-star reviews is for the next problem that I see everybody make, because the money model right here is going to solve your problem with butts and seats. It's going to give you the best chance at filling your classes permanently, because what it did for me was it gave me 40 people a class 4 times a week. That was Tuesday from 11 to 1, Thursday from 6 to 9 p.m., Saturday from 10 to 1, and then from 2 to 7. But then I had another problem, and this is a problem that everybody in this room faces. I know that each and every one of you can do more than one class. So we have our class 1 that we teach, which we've already said for this example is $75. But I know you can teach class 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I know that already. But the problem that we face is this. Only about 10% of our students ever come back for class 2. They feel satisfied with class 1, or maybe they say to themselves or say it to you, yeah, I'm going to take more of your classes. And then they never do. It's like pulling teeth. And so I solved my problem with butts and seats with the money model. Then I had another problem. And my other problem was that, yeah, I was making a lot of money, but I wasn't making as much world change as I wanted because I was just getting people the basics. I wasn't getting people real training. And so after about 2 years of me struggling to try to just fill class 2, I took 3 weeks off. I took a sabbatical. During that sabbatical, I did 2 things. 1, I set a goal for myself that I wanted to do $500,000 within the next 12 months. That was my goal. And with my current business model, I did the math. I had to train at $75 per student. I had to train 6,666 people. So at the beginning of my sabbatical, that's what I decided to do. And so I said to myself, how do I get students to come back? Let me find a business model where people are willingly paying for more and more training. What business model exists for people to pay more and more and more training? And I found a business model that worked. And this was the martial arts industry. So in the martial arts industry, what color belt do people start with? Well, we know that people start in the martial arts industry with a white belt. And we also know that they want to go to a black belt if they go the whole distance. And we also know that that journey from white belt to black belt does not happen overnight. That's a long, drawn-out journey, but it is a really healthy journey for that student. Because as they go white belt to black belt, they're getting real training. And it's a really healthy journey for the community that that student lives in. Because that community has people walking around that have real training. And it's really good for the business because the business has people paying over and over and over. They're making real money. And so we ask ourselves, what do we have in the gun world that's white belt to black belt? And I will tell you, we have nothing. There is no national structure for any firearm training that brings people from a white belt to a black belt. In fact, if you ask anybody about white belt to black belt that is not a martial arts person, they know white belt and they know black belt and they know what it means. And we have nothing that is equivalent in the gun world. And so you need to do that. You need to make that. And so what I decided to do on the sabbatical was take a page out of the book. And the first thing I did, I wanted to transform my business from a myriad of classes that people could take this class and that class if they want, right? Now I'm giving this class, now I'm giving that class down. And I wanted to transform it into white belt to black belt. And so the first thing I did was I named my graduate. I named them. My graduate to this day is called the Ultimate Protector. And I realized during this sabbatical that what people wanted to pay for wasn't a class. They don't want a class. That is not what they want to pay for. What they want to pay for is to become someone they are not currently. What I mean by that is this. In marketing, if you're selling a trip to Hawaii, this is your Hawaii trip. So here's your island. Here's the best palm tree you've ever seen. Okay. And here's the person on the beach and they are enjoying their life. If you want to sell that trip to Hawaii, what you've got to say is, hey, mom and dad, when you're in Hawaii, there's going to be no stress. Hey, mom and dad, your kids are going to build memories with you, memories of a lifetime. Hey, mom and dad, when you're in Hawaii, you are going to have the time of your life. That is what we need to do to sell a trip to Hawaii. But the same model applies to our classes. So let's say that we're selling our class and we go on Facebook and we say, hey, come take my concealed carry class, intro to firearm class, intro to shotgun class, intro to pistol shot. I don't care what you call it. When you say, come take my class, what you are doing is you are selling the airplane ride to the Hawaii trip. This is the best airplane you've ever seen, admit it. You are selling the airplane ride to the trip to Hawaii. Because what you're saying is, hey, come sit next to somebody stinky and listen to a baby cry for 6 hours straight and get hot and sweaty on an airplane with no sleep, right? And be crammed in like a sardine. That's what we want you to do. When you're saying, come take my class, that's what you're saying to people. That's what you're saying to people. You're talking about the method of getting to the destination. You're not talking about the destination. So we need to shift our marketing from, hey, come take a class, which is selling the way they get to where they want to be, instead of where they want to be. And we need to say things like, hey, come become the ultimate protector of your family. Hey, there's a better world, us together, working together to grow to make sure that you are, to grow your skills and make sure that you are ready to defend your family in case of emergency. Hey, there's a better way to live than to feel nervous when you're pushing a stroller around your neighborhood. That's what we need to sell. And the way we get to that is the class. That is how we get there. And what I did with my business is what I want you to do. When the H30K method, this is the process. We stop selling $75 classes and instead we sell the whole dang journey. And we sell the whole journey for $997. Sell the whole journey for $997. And now, when I came up with this idea, my path to $500,000 was no longer 6,666 people. My path to $500,000 was 500 people a year. All I had to do was get 500 people a year to sign up for this journey, and I could make $500,000 a year. And so this is the biggest objection that I hear, is selling the class instead of selling the journey. You're selling the airplane ride to the vacation and ignoring completely the vacation. You're not telling people how they're going to feel, how they're going to behave, how they're going to act, how fun it's going to be. You're telling people that you want them to come take a class. And when they think of class, they think of PowerPoint and dread and angry people and big combat boots and bulletproof vests. You know, they don't think of normal everyday people. And a lot of you are thinking right now, nobody in my area would ever spend $997. Andy, it sounds so good, but you don't know me. You don't know my area. You don't know anything about me or my people. I live in a small town, rural. People will not spend that money. If I had $10,000 in my hand, and I said to you, hey, I'm going to give you this $10,000. All you need to do is give me $1,000. In fact, all you need to do is give me $997, and I'll give you this $10,000. Do you think that people would give you $1,000, $997, for that 10,000? The answer is clearly yes, they would. Now, if they didn't have that $1,000 in their bank account at that time, but you promised $10,000 in exchange for 1,000, but they didn't have the money, what do you think they would do? They would get the money because the deal that you offered is so good. It would be stupid for them to say no. So I don't care where you are at. The median income of my area today is lower than anybody I've ever looked up on any one-on-one strategy call in the history of doing strategy calls. Because I look you up and I say, okay, what's the median income of your area? And your area is always higher than my median income, which means if it works in Ocala, Florida, it's going to work where you are. If you give people an offer that's so great, it would be stupid for them to say no, they won't say no. And so at the end of this class, right? So when I had this amount of people in front of me on Saturday, right? And look at these, I've got people in wheelchairs. I've got, older women, right? These 3 people. I mean, these are not rich people. But what I did at the end of this class is I stood in front of the group and I said, look, today's class does not cut it for training. In fact, I said, everybody in the room, hold up your cell phone. And everybody held up their phone. And I said, look around this room and look at all these cell phones. I said, imagine everybody that was carrying a cell phone right now was also carrying a gun. And they were so confident and skilled with that gun that they carried it everywhere they carried their phone. And I said, would that be good for our city? And they said, yes. And I said, would that be good for our county? And they said, yes. And I said, would that be good for our families? And they said, yes. And I said, I want to get you there. And the way to get there is to sign up for more training. And I gave a 6-course outline on them becoming an ultimate protector. And at the end of that, one of my instructors that was there helping me out caught this video clip. This is the moment that I told them, if you want to sign up for the $1,000 program, I want you to stand up right now, get to the back of the room and sign up and watch what happens. Right now, I want you to stand up, walk to the back of the room because my team is waiting for you to get signed up. Immediately, 1, 2, 3, 4 people stood up immediately. By the end of that class, I had another 6. So in total, I had 10 people sign up for my $1,000 program right there on the spot. That means that class was a smooth $14,415 class. Now, I don't expect you to go and have an 80-person gun class. I don't expect that. But what I want you to do is I want you to learn these systems. You've been trying to figure out exactly how you are going to fill your classes. And you've said to yourself, my area is the problem. People in my area don't want training. You said the economy sucks. People can't afford it. You've said, the problem is that I have to get people to schedule and then they don't show up, right? These are all the things that you've said to make an excuse for the problem. And the problem is that you don't have the skills that you need to do marketing. That's the problem. And so when you think about your vacation, your destination, that you want to have classes so filled that you know that if you put a class on the calendar, you're going to have a ton of people show up so that you can feel like you're making a difference in your community. And the money will come. But with that money comes the ability for you to work less while spending time at home with the family. Your business can get there. The missing link are marketing skills. Your plane is my program. That's how you get from where you are now to where you want to be. That's how you get there. Because my job is to get you those skills as fast as humanly possible. Because there's no doubt you can figure this out, but it took me 15 years and probably $500,000 on Facebook ads that were spent the wrong way. And now I can fill every class that I ever want. If I wanted to stop right now and go buy a shooting range, I could have that class filled every single weekend with the marketing skills that I have. And let me prove that to you one time. So if you were to look at your gun skills and we would rate them on a scale of 0 to 10, okay? 0 being you've never fired a handgun before, 10 being you could train anybody on a handgun. Most of you would say that your skills are between a 7 and 10. And then if I asked you to rate your skills in marketing from a 0 to 10, 0 being you've never run a Facebook ad before in your life, 10 being you're Andy the gun guy in this presentation tonight, you would probably rate yourself between a 1 and a 3. And then I would ask you, what would your business look like if I was able to get your marketing skills to the same level of skills as your gun skills? If you could have so much knowledge and skills in marketing that you have in the gun world, What would your business look like? And I'll tell you what it's going to look like. Every class that you open, you get filled. In this hypothetical situation, you hire somebody to go and do training for you because you can do other things now because you have mastered this skill. In 3 to 5 years, you sell your business or give it to somebody. That allows you to have the freedom to live the life that you've wanted to and that you deserve, because we're in the Second Amendment game. And I've always said that if we're going to invest in the Second Amendment needs to invest in us. And tonight is not about money. It's about how much world can we change together. So that said, I'm going to open it up for questions.
Yeah, Andy, what was number 7?
The number 7 is trying to figure it all out on your own. That is the biggest mistake. This has been done for you, and you're trying to figure it out on yourself. And what I mean by that is, if you want to boil down the skills that you need to grow, I've got it boiled down to what I call my ranks manual. So in my program, and I'm not selling my program right now, you're not going to hear about how much it costs. I'm not doing a pitch. I'm just letting you know that this is what my program does, is that my business gets you from white belt to black belt in marketing, right? Easiest way to say it. And so when you are first joining my program, when you guys join my program, I have 4 stages, white belt to black belt. The white belt is the initiate. So as an initiate, you're going to kind of feel lost. Like everybody else understands something you don't. You're going to kind of question, like, did you make the right decision to join the class? This is normal. And the people who push through this phase, all we're doing in this phase is getting your software set up. So we got to connect Facebook and Google and Instagram and everything, getting your software set up. The moment that we run your first ad, when you run your first ad on Facebook, it changes you from an initiate to an operator. So you instantly go from initiate to an operator. And as an operator, you're going to start to feel momentum. The machine is running, your leads are coming in, your classes are filling. You're going to feel a first taste of what a predictable business feels like. And a lot of people stop at operator because they're like, holy smoke, my classes are filled. That's all I needed, right? But there's more to it, because after you go as an operator, I want you to go to a guardian. And to go from operator to guardian, all you've got to do is sell $1,000 class. So sell your first $1,000 program. And then to go from a guardian to a warrior, what that means is that you are selling 30 $1,000 programs every single month, which means you are making $30,000 a month in firearm training. And that's when I send you the sword. And the sword is our trophy. It says on it, Marketing Warrior. And this is what people are in my group are striving to get. I'm not selling because I'm not, I'm just telling you that doing it on your own, like, it's difficult. If you wanted to go start a coffee shop, you could go figure it out on your own, or you could get a Dunkin' Donuts, right? You want to do a sandwich shop, you can go figure it out on your own, or you can buy into a Subway, right? So what I have is not a franchise, it's a model.
I know you touched on it, Andy, the Momentum HQ, that is the software that you use and is user-friendly.
Momentum HQ is, it used to be a real estate software, but I reached out to them and paid them a bunch of money to customize it for us. So when you look inside of Momentum HQ, this becomes your website, your landing page, your email system, your 5-star review system, your video testimonials, your payments, your your contacts, right? So it becomes your entire business in a box is what it is. Yeah, it really is the only software that you need to run your whole business, right? So if you're on Wix or GoDaddy or WordPress, you can cancel those subscriptions and move it on over, and you'll have much better results. Having it all in one place is really helpful, right? So like for a lot of you guys, I can go look at your website, I can go look at your account right now, and I can see what Facebook ad did you guys come in off of. And so when I'm going to make my new ads, I can say, well, Chris and Leroy came in on ad that said XYZ, whereas Scott and Roland came in on this ad over here. So I need more of both ads, right? And so the thing about marketing is that marketing is not guesswork, it's science. It's science. And all of the data tells us what is working or what is not working. It's a data-driven process. So marketing is like math. 2 + 2 = 4 every single time. And that's what marketing is like. All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask my AI assistant to send you all a text. Hey, do me a favor. Send a text message to everybody that's registered for the 7 p.m. Eastern seminar tonight. Send a text to them all through the system, and give them a link to schedule a one-on-one call with me at instructormarketing.com/strategy. That's instructormarketing.com/strategy, and invite them to a one-on-one with me and my team if they want to hear more about our program and they have money to invest to grow their program. then and time, then send them that text message and see if they join up. So my AI is going to send you a text. My apologies in advance if it gets that wrong, but we're working on it. We're learning. And guys, I appreciate you joining up. I hope that this has been entirely just helpful for you to really see that this is possible. You can do this. All you need is the missing link, which are marketing skills. All right, guys, feel free to text me, email, whatever the case may be, it comes right to me. I have to end this video the same way I end every video. This is Andy, the gun guy. Messages to get armed, get trained, carry daily, and long live the Republic. Good night, guys.